CNN Zimbabwe's military has seized control in an apparent coup, deploying tanks to the streets of the capital Harare, and declaring that 93-year-old President Robert Mugabe was safe. In a dramatic televised statement in the early hours of Wednesday morning, an army spokesman denied that a military takeover was underway. But the situation bore all the hallmarks of a coup. The army was in control at state TV in Harare, there was a significant military presence at the international airport, and Mugabe's whereabouts were unknown for hours. South African President Jacob Zuma later said Mugabe was confined to his home. It came after weeks of political turmoil, in which Mugabe sacked his powerful vice president Emmerson Mnangagwa, who enjoyed wide support in the military and was tipped to become the next leader. The move fueled speculation Mugabe would try to install his wife, Grace, to succeed him. Military in charge. The military announced on state television station ZBC at 4 a.m. that it was conducting an operation to target criminals close to the president who were causing social and economic suffering. President's location. South Africa's President Zuma said had spoken to Mugabe by phone, saying the veteran leader was feeling fine but had been confined to his home. Situation on streets. The streets of the capital were reportedly quiet, but lines were seen outside banks. A CNN crew reported seeing army checkpoints. The first signs that a military intervention was underway came Tuesday afternoon as tanks were seen near the capital. The situation escalated with the early morning announcement, when Maj. Gen. S.B. Moyo addressed the country on state TV, vehemently denying the operation was a coup. To both our people and the world beyond our borders, we wish to make it abundantly clear that this is not a military takeover of government, he said. As soon as we accomplish our mission, we expect situation to return to normalcy. Moyo told members of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces that all leave was cancelled and soldiers were expected to return to their barracks immediately. He urged Zimbabwe's other security services to cooperate for the good of our country. Moyo said that the security of Mugabe and his family was guaranteed and said the president was safe but gave no information of his whereabouts. South African President Jacob Zuma later said he had spoken with Mugabe by phone and that the veteran politician was confined to his home but feeling fine. There were reports Wednesday that officials were being arrested. Harare goes quiet. Witnesses told CNN they saw soldiers patrolling the streets of Harare, but that the atmosphere was peaceful. A resident, who wished not to be named for security reasons, described the city as very quiet, though shops were open and buses and taxis appeared to be running normally. Many people have just stayed home, she said. The resident added that there was a sense of excitement in the air and that social media was humming over what might be happening. But there also appeared to be some nervousness. Photographs showed long lines at ATMs and at banks. Allies of the deposed vice president welcomed the military intervention. In a statement praising the military, Chris Musvanga, who heads the influential Zimbabwe War Veterans Association, called the move a bloodless coup. We salute the patriotic and gallant forces of the Zimbabwe for once again coming to the decisive rescue of the nation, the statement said. The populace has long suffered under a self-saving dictatorship that had become an oligarch with dynastic delusions. The veterans group has historically been loyal to Mugabe, but it is fiercely critical of Grace Mugabe, who is 52 and does not have any connection to Zimbabwe's independence campaign. Mugabe, the world's longest-serving living leader, became president in 1987, 7 years after the country gained independence from Britain. He was initially revered, but Mugabe later began to consolidate power with a combination of brutality and bribery. The tactic has been effective. Mugabe remains the only leader many in the country have ever known. Gucci Grace controversy. Speculation that Mugabe would attempt to promote his wife to role of president had prompted widespread discontent among formerly loyalist supporters. Grace Mugabe has drawn the ire of Zimbabweans for being out of touch. She's been nicknamed Gucci Grace for her exorbitant shopping sprees abroad, trips which stand in stark contrast to the of those hit hard by the country's massive inflation and debt burdens. Robert Mugabe has faced similar accusations, but until this week had succeeded in holding off all challenges to his leadership. CNN's Angela Dewan, Emily Smith, Robin Curnow, Ewan McCurdy and Hilary Clark contributed to this report.